Taesung opened his eyes and saw only gray sky. His body hurt everywhere. His head was ringing. For a long moment, he did not know where he was or what had happened. Then the memories came back like a wave of cold water. The rescue mission. The enemy ships appearing from nowhere. The explosion that tore through their shuttle. His crew screaming as they fell from the sky. He pushed himself up from the ground and looked around. The world was dead. Everything was burned. Buildings that once stood tall were now nothing but broken stones and ash. The air smelled like smoke and something worse. Something like death. Taesung was a combat medic in the United Nations Space Force. He had seen many terrible things in his 5 years of fighting the Kreth, but he had never seen anything like. This Valora-7 had been a beautiful planet just 3 days ago. The Valorans were a peaceful people. They had silver blue skin and large dark eyes. They built temples and made art. They never wanted to fight anyone. The Kreth did not care. The Kreth Dominion had destroyed more than 40 civilizations in their conquest of the galaxy. They burned worlds and killed billions. And now Valora-7 was just another dead planet on their list. Taesung checked his equipment. His communication device was broken. His medical kit was half empty. He had one pistol with 12 shots. His suit told him he had 72 hours of oxygen left. 72 hours. Then he would die on this dead world, just like everyone else. He started walking. He did not know where he was going. He just knew he could not sit still and wait for death. That was not who he was. As he walked through the ruins, he thought about his sister. Mingi had died 4 years ago when the Kreth attacked the colony on New Incheon. She was only 17. Taesung had joined the military 1 week after her funeral. He wanted to fight. He wanted revenge. He wanted to make sure no one else lost their family the way he did. But now, walking through the ashes of another dead world, he wondered if anything he did mattered at all. The sun was setting when he heard the sound at first. It thought it was the wind. But there was no wind on Valora-7 anymore. The atmosphere was too damaged. He stopped and listened carefully. It was crying. Someone was crying. Taesung moved toward the sound. His training told him to be careful. It could be a trap. The Kreth sometimes left survivors as bait to catch rescue teams. But his heart told him something different. His heart told him to move faster. He found a collapsed building. It looked like it had been a temple once. The walls were covered with beautiful patterns, now cracked and burned. He could see a small opening in the rubble. The crying was coming from inside. Taesung got down on his knees and looked into the darkness. He turned on his light. A pair of large, dark eyes stared back at him. It was a girl. A Valoran girl. She looked young, maybe 12 or 13 years old by human standards. Her silver blue skin was covered in ash and dried blood. Her clothes were torn. She was pressed against the back of the small space. Shaking with fear, Taesung felt his heart break. He did not speak Valoran. She did not speak Korean or English, but he knew that she understood fear. He understood it too. He slowly reached out his hand. He made his face soft and kind. He spoke in a gentle voice, even though she could not understand his words. "It's okay," he said. "I'm not going to hurt you. I'm here to help." The girl did not move. She just stared at him with those big dark eyes. Eyes that had seen too much. Eyes that had lost everything. Taesung did not push. He sat down outside the opening and waited. He took out one of his food bars and broke it in half. He put one half near the opening where she could reach it. Then he ate his half slowly, showing her it was safe. Time passed. The sky grew darker. Taesung did not move. Finally, the girl reached out and took the food. She ate it so fast she almost choked. Taesung felt tears in his own eyes. How long had she been hiding here? How long since she had eaten anything? He pointed to himself. "Taesung," he said. "My name is Taesung." The girl looked at him for a long moment. Then she pointed to herself. "Yuri," she whispered. Taesung smiled. It was the first time he had smiled in days. "Hello, Yuri," sound cut through the silence. A mechanical humming that made Taesung's blood run cold. He knew that sound. Kreth patrol drones. They were scanning the area for survivors. Yuri's eyes went wide with terror. She knew that sound too. Taesung did not think. He moved on instinct. He crawled into the small space and wrapped his body around hers. He covered her completely, pressing her face against his chest so she would not make a sound.
"Oh, don't move,"
he whispered. "I've got you. I've got you." The drone passed over them. Its red scanning light swept across the rubble. Taesun held his breath. He could feel Yuri's small body shaking against him. He could feel her heart beating fast like a scared bird. The light moved on. The humming grew quieter. The drone flew away. Taesung did not let go. He held Yuri for a long time, until her shaking stopped, until her breathing became slow and steady. When he finally pulled back, she looked up at him with something new in her eyes. Not just fear. Something else, trust. She did not know him. She did not know his language or his species or where he came from. But he had protected her. He had put his body between her and danger without a second thought. In that moment, in the ashes of her dead world, something was born between them. A connection that went beyond words. Beyond species, beyond everything. Taesung looked at this small alien girl, the last survivor of her people, and made a silent promise. I will keep you safe, no matter what. No matter how long. I will not let you die alone on this planet. He did not know if he could keep that promise. He had 70 hours of oxygen left. They had no food, no water, no way to call for help. The Kreth were still hunting. But Taesun had been a big brother once. He knew how to protect someone smaller than himself. He knew how to be strong when everything seemed hopeless. Minji was gone. He could not save her. But maybe, just maybe, he could save this girl. He stood up and held out his hand. Come with me, he said. We're going to survive this. Together. Yuri looked at his hand. Then she looked at his face. Then, slowly, she reached out and took it. Her hand was small and cold, but her grip was strong. Together, they walked into the darkness of the ruined world. A human soldier and an alien child. Strangers who had found each other in the ashes of everything. Their story was just beginning. 5 days passed on the dead world of Velera 7. 5 days of walking through ruins. 5 days of hiding from Kreth patrols. 5 days of learning to survive together. Taesung and Yuri moved at night when the drones were less active. During the day, they hid in whatever shelter they could find. Collapsed buildings. Underground tunnels. Once, they spent 12 hours inside the burned shell of a transport vehicle. Communication was hard at first. Taesun spoke Korean and English. Yuri spoke only Valoran. But humans are good at finding ways to talk. And so are children. They used their hands. They drew pictures in the ash with sticks. They pointed at things and said the words. Slowly, very slowly, they began to understand each other. Taesun pointed at water. Mal, he said in Korean. Yuri repeated it carefully. Mal, he pointed at food. Bap, bap, she said. He pointed at himself. Taesung. She smiled a little. Taesung. Then she pointed at herself. Yuri. And she pointed at him and said a word in her language. He did not know what it meant, but it sounded warm. Taesung shared his rations with her. He had enough food bars for one person for 6 days. With 2 people eating, they would run out in 3. He gave her more than half of each bar. She was young and small. She needed the food more than he did. When Yuri realized what he was doing, she tried to refuse. She pushed the food back to him and shook her head. But Taesun just smiled and put it in her hands. Eat, he said. I'm a soldier. I can handle being hungry. You need to stay strong. She did not understand his words, but she understood his meaning. Her big dark eyes filled with tears. No one had taken care of her since her family died, and now this strange human was giving her his food, even though it meant he might starve. On the 2nd day, their water ran out. Taesung's suit could recycle some moisture, but not enough for 2 people. He was starting to feel weak. His lips were cracked. His head hurt. Yuri watched him carefully. She could see he was suffering. And then she did something that surprised him. She took his hand and started leading him. Somewhere they walked for 2 hours through the ruins. Yuri seemed to know exactly where she was going. She moved around fallen buildings and through narrow passages, like she had walked this path 1,000 times. Finally, they reached what looked like an old well. The buildings around it were destroyed, but the well itself was still there. Yuri pointed down into the darkness. Taesung looked. At the bottom, he could see the reflection of water. "How did you know this was here?" he asked. Yuri knelt beside the well and touched the stones. She drew a picture in the ash, a building with many people inside. Her people. This had been a sacred place, a place where her people came to pray and drink the holy water. Taesung felt a lump in his throat. This was all she had left of her world. Memories of places that were now ruins. He found a container in his kit and lowered it down with a rope. When he pulled it up, the water was clean and clear. He tested it with his suit's sensors. Safe to drink. He handed the first cup to Yuri. She hesitated, then drank. Then she filled it again and gave it to him. They sat by the well for a long time, drinking and resting. Taesun watched the girl carefully. She was so young to have lost so much. He wondered what her life had been like before the Kreth came. Did she go to school? Did she play with friends? Did she have brothers and sisters? Yuri seemed to read his thoughts. She picked up a sharp stone and started scratching pictures into a flat piece of rock. She drew a house. She drew 2 tall figures and 1 small one, her parents and herself. Then she drew fire falling from the sky. She drew the tall figures lying still. She drew the small figure alone. Taesung's heart broke all over again. He took the stone from her hand. He drew his own pictures. A house, 2 figures and 1 small one. Him, his parents, and Mingi. Then he drew one of the figures alone. Him, after Mingi died. Yuri looked at his drawings. Then she looked at him. She understood they were the same. To people who had lost everything? 2 people who knew what it felt like to be the one left behind. That night, Yuri fell asleep, pressed against his side. Taesung stayed awake, keeping watch. He looked up at the stars through the broken atmosphere. Somewhere out there, human ships were fighting the Kreth. Somewhere out there, people were living normal lives. But here, on this dead world, there was only him and this girl. He thought about what would happen if rescue never came. He thought about watching her die. He thought about dying himself. No. He pushed the thoughts away. He had made a promise. He would keep it. On the 4th night, the Kreth found them. They were hiding in an underground tunnel when Taesung heard footsteps above. Heavy footsteps. Kreth soldiers wore metal boots that made a distinctive sound. He had heard that sound many times in battle. He pressed his finger to his lips, telling Yuri to be quiet. She nodded, her eyes wide with fear. The footsteps got closer. Then they stopped right above the tunnel entrance. A Kreth soldier jumped down into the darkness. Then another. Then a third. Taesung did not hesitate. He had 12 shots. 3 enemies. He had to make every bullet count. He pushed Yuri behind him and fired. The first shot hit the lead soldier in the head. The second shot hit the next one in the chest. The third soldier was fast. He dodged and raised his weapon. Taesung felt burning pain as a plasma bolt grazed his ribs. But he kept firing. 1 shot. 2 shots. 3 shots the soldier fell. Taesung dropped to his knees. The pain was terrible. He could smell his own burned flesh. His hands were shaking. His vision was getting dark. Taesung. Yuri's voice cut through the pain. She was beside him, her small hands on his face. Taesung. I'm okay, he lied. I'm okay. But he was not okay. The wound was bad. He could feel blood running down his side. He tried to stand, but his legs would not work. The world went black. When Taesung woke up, he was in a different place. A small cave, far from the tunnel. Soft light was coming through a crack in the ceiling. He tried to move and gasped at the pain. Then he saw Yuri. She was sitting beside him, watching him with worried eyes. There was dried blood on her hands. His blood. He looked down at himself. Someone had bandaged his wound. The medical supplies from his kit were scattered around him, opened and used. Did you do this? He asked. Yuri nodded. She pointed at herself, then at him, then made a pulling motion. She had dragged him here. This girl, half his size, had pulled an unconscious soldier through 2 kilometers of rubble to safety. Then she had bandaged his wounds with supplies she did not know how to use. Copying what she had seen him do when he treated a small cut on her hand 2 days ago, Taesung felt tears running down his face. He did not try to stop them. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you, Yuri." She lay down beside him and pressed her face against his shoulder. Her body was warm. He could feel her breathing. Then she said a word. A Korean word he had taught her. "Appa." Big brother. Taesung closed his eyes. In that moment, in that small cave on a dead world, with enemies hunting them and no hope of rescue, he felt something he had not felt in a very long time. He felt like he had a family again. "Yes," he said softly. "I'm your UPA now, and I'm going to get us out of here. I promise." Yuri's grip on his arm tightened. She believed him. Taesung made himself believe it too. He had to. For her, on the 6th day, Taesung's emergency beacon finally started working. He had been trying to fix it since the crash. The device was badly damaged, but he kept working on it whenever he had the strength. On the morning of the 6th day, the small light on the beacon turned green. The signal went out into space. A tiny cry for help from a dead world. Taesung held Yuri's hand and waited. His wound was infected. He had a fever. He knew he did not have much time left. But he had kept his promise. He had kept her alive. 6 hours later, a ship appeared in the sky. It was the UNSF Dauntless, human carrier that had been searching for survivors from the crashed shuttle. When they picked up Taesung's beacon, they changed course immediately. The rescue shuttle landed in a cloud of ash and dust. Soldiers in combat suits ran out with weapons ready. A medical team followed with stretchers and equipment. Taesung stood up on shaking legs. Yuri stood beside him, holding his hand tightly. She was scared. These were more strangers. More people she did not know. Lieutenant Park. One of the soldiers called out, "We thought you were dead." "Not yet," Taesung said. His voice was weak. "But I need medical help." And so does she. The soldiers looked at Yuri. Their eyes went wide behind their helmets. A Valoran survivor. They had not expected to find anyone alive on this planet. "Sir, we need to evacuate you immediately," the team leader said. "The Kreth might detect our presence." "She comes with me," Taesung said. "Sir, we don't have orders to." "She comes with me." Taesung's voice was hard like steel. "I'm not leaving her behind. Either we both go, or neither of us goes." The soldiers looked at each other. They could see the fire in Tassin's eyes. They could see the way the alien girl held onto his hand like he was the only thing keeping her alive. The team leader nodded. "All right, both of you. Let's move." On the Dauntless, Taesun was taken to the medical bay. Doctors worked on his wound while he fought to stay awake. He kept asking about Yuri. Where was she? Was she safe? Was anyone hurting her? "She's fine," a nurse told him. "She's being checked by our alien biology team. She won't let go of your jacket, though. She's been holding it since we separated you two." Taesung smiled weakly. Then he finally let himself sleep. When he woke up 2 days later, Captain Gina Oh was standing beside his bed. Captain Oh was a small woman with sharp eyes and gray hair pulled back in a tight bun. She had been in the military for 30 years. She had seen everything. But the look on her face told Taesung that something unusual was happening. "Lieutenant Park," she said. "How are you feeling?" "Better, Captain." "Where is Yuri?" "The girl is safe. She's been asking about you constantly. We had to bring her here 3 times already because she wouldn't stop crying." Captain O paused. "She really trusts you." "We survived together," Taesun said simply. The captain nodded. Then her expression became serious. We need to talk about her. Our scientists have discovered something important. She showed him a tablet with data and images. Taesung did not understand most of it, but he understood the important parts. Yuri was not just any Valoran child. She was something called a memory keeper. Memory keepers were rare individuals born with special minds. They could remember everything perfectly. But more than that, they could receive memories from others. When a memory keeper came of age, the elders of their civilization would transfer all of their knowledge into the keeper's mind. History, science, art, technology, everything their people had learned over thousands of years. Yuri was the last memory keeper of Valora. Before the Kreth attacked, her elders had transferred everything to her. She carried the complete knowledge of her entire civilization in her head, including technology that was far more advanced than anything humans had ever seen. The Kreth didn't attack Valora randomly, Captain O said. They were hunting her. Our intelligence suggests they've been trying to capture memory keepers from other civilizations for years. The knowledge in their heads is extremely valuable. Taesun felt cold. So she's in danger. Even here, it's worse than that. The captain's voice was heavy. The Kreth Dominion sent us a message 2 hours ago. They know she's alive. They know she's on this ship, and they're demanding that we hand her over.
What?
If we don't give them the girl, they'll declare total war on Earth. Every colony, every station, every ship. They'll destroy everything. Asung's hands tightened into fists. And what did Command say? Captain O was quiet for a moment. Command is discussing options. Options. Taesung sat up despite the pain. She's a child. She's not an option. She's a person. I know that, Lieutenant. Do they know what the Kreth will do to her? Do they know how they treat prisoners? She's already lost her whole world, her whole family. And now they want to hand her over to the monsters who killed everyone she loved? Lieutenant, I understand your feelings, but no. Taesun swung his legs off the bed. No, I won't let this happen. I made her a promise. I told her I would keep her safe. If Command wants to surrender her, they'll have to go through me first. Captain O looked at him for a long time. Then something in her face softened. I was hoping you would say that. She sat down in the chair beside his bed. I've been a soldier for 30 years. I've followed orders even when I didn't agree with them. But there are some orders I will not follow. Handing a child over to be tortured and killed is one of them.
What are you saying, Captain?
I'm saying that I've already told Command my position. The girl stays with us. We will protect her with everything we have. If the Kreth want war, they'll get war. And I'm not the only one who feels this way. Most of my crew agrees. And when word spreads to other ships, other commands I think many others will agree to. Taesun felt hope for the first time in days. Thank you, Captain. You don't thank me yet. This is going to be hard. The Kreth are powerful. This war could last for years. Many people will die. She looked at him directly. But some things are worth fighting for. Some things are worth dying for. A child's life is one of those things. The door opened. Yuri ran in, followed by a tired-looking nurse who had clearly given up trying to stop her. Appa. Yuri threw herself at Taesung's bed. He caught her and held her tight, ignoring the pain in his side. I'm here, he said. I'm okay. I'm not going anywhere. Yuri pulled back and looked at him. Her Korean had gotten better in the past 2 days. She had been learning from the crew. They want to take me away, she said. Her voice was shaking. The bad ones. They want me. Taesung cupped her face in his hands. Listen to me. No one is taking you anywhere. Not the Kreth. Not anyone. You're staying with me? Do you understand? But they said I don't care what they said. You're my sister now, my family, and I protect my family. He looked at Captain O. We all do. Captain O nodded. She walked over and knelt down so she was at Yuri's eye level. Hello, Yuri. My name is Gina. I'm the captain of this ship. She spoke slowly and clearly. You're safe here. I promise you. No one is going to hurt you. Not while I'm in charge. Yuri looked at her, then at Taesun, then back at the captain. Why? She asked. Why do you help me? You don't know me. I'm not human. Why do you care? Captain O smiled sadly. Because you're a child. That's the only reason that matters. Yuri's eyes filled with tears. She had asked the same question silently for days. Why did this human soldier save her? Why did he share his food, protect her from danger, risk his life for her? Now she had her answer, because that was what humans did. They protected children. All children. Even children who were not their own. Even children from other worlds. Yuri hugged Taesun again and cried. But this time, they were not tears of fear. They were tears of hope. 6 months had passed since. Taesun found Yuri in the ashes of Valora-7. The war had grown bigger and more terrible. The Kreth attacked human colonies with new anger. They were furious that humanity had refused to hand over the Memory Keeper. Every week brought news of battles, of ships destroyed, of lives lost. But humanity did not give up, and neither did Yuri. She lived on the Dauntless now. The ship had become her home. The crew had become her family. And Tessin was always there, watching over her like the big brother he had promised to be. Yuri learned fast. Faster than anyone expected. Her memory was perfect. She could hear a word once and remember it forever. In 6 months, she had learned to speak Korean and English perfectly. She was starting to learn Chinese and Spanish too. The human doctors and scientists were amazed by her mind. But Taesun knew that her gift was also her greatest pain. Yuri remembered everything. She remembered her mother's face. She remembered her father's laugh. She remembered the sound of her teacher's voice and the smell of her grandmother's cooking. She remembered every moment of her life on Velaru-7. And she remembered the day it all ended. She remembered hiding in the temple as the sky turned red. She remembered hearing her parents scream. She remembered the last words her mother said to her before pushing her into the hiding place. She remembered watching through a crack in the stones. As her mother died, these memories never faded. They never got softer or easier. They stayed perfect and sharp forever, like knives in her mind. Taesun found her crying many nights. He would sit beside her and hold her hand. He never told her to stop crying. He never told her to be strong. He just stayed with her until the tears stopped. Why won't it go away? She asked him one night. Why can't I forget? Taesung was quiet for a moment. Then he told her about Minji. My sister was 17 when she died, he said. It was 4 years ago. But I still remember everything. The way she laughed. The way she always stole food from my plate. The fight we had the last time I saw her. I said something mean to her. I never got to say sorry. Yuri looked at him. Do you wish you could forget? Sometimes. The pain is very hard. But the memories are all I have left of her. If I forgot the pain, I might forget her too. And I don't want that. He squeezed her hand. The people we love become part of us. Even when they're gone. Especially when they're gone, but it hurts so much. I know. And I won't lie to you. It will always hurt. But the hurt changes over time. It becomes something else. Something you can live with. He looked into her eyes. You're not just a memory keeper, Yuri. You're not just a container for your people's knowledge. You're still alive. That means you get to choose what to do with what you remember. You get to decide what it means. Yuri thought about this for a long time. The next day, she asked to meet with the ship's engineers. The meeting was held in a large conference room. Captain O was there, along with the chief engineer, a man named Dong Yoon, and several other officers. Yuri sat at the table with Taesun beside her. I want to help, Yuri said. Her voice was small, but steady. I know things. My people knew things. Technology, science, things that could help you in the war. The officers exchanged looks. What kind of technology? Dong Yoon asked. Yuri closed her eyes. When she opened them again, she began to speak. She spoke for almost an hour, describing concepts that made the engineers' heads spin. Energy shields that could protect entire planets. New ways to travel between stars. Weapons that could disable enemy ships without destroying them. When she finished, the room was silent. This is incredible, Dongyun said. Some of these ideas could take us 50 years ahead of where we are now. I have one condition, Yuri said. I will only share technology that protects, not technology that destroys. My people believed in peace. They died because they could not fight back, but they would not want their knowledge used to kill, only to save. Captain O nodded slowly. That's a condition we can accept. Over the next 3 months, Yuri worked with human engineers to design something new. They called it the Aegis Shield. It was a massive energy barrier that could cover an entire planet. Nothing could get through it. No bombs, no weapons, no ships. The first Aegis Shield was built over New Busan, human colony that had been attacked by the Kreth twice already. It took thousands of workers and millions of tons of materials. But when it was finished, it was beautiful. A dome of soft blue light that protected everyone below, the Kreth. Came 1 week later. Taesung watched from the bridge of the Dauntless as the enemy fleet appeared. 30 warships, armed with enough firepower to burn New Busan to ash dot. The Kreth did not know about the shield. They fired everything they had. Plasma bombs, nuclear weapons, energy beams. The sky above New Busan lit up like a second sun, and nothing got through. The shield held. The bombs exploded harmlessly against the blue barrier. The Kreth fired again and again, but it was useless. After 2 hours, they retreated. They had used all their weapons for nothing. For the first time in the war, humanity had not lost a world. The news spread across human space like wildfire. People cheered in the streets. Soldiers who had been fighting for years cried with joy. A colony had been saved. Families were alive who should have been dead. And it was all because of one alien girl who chose to help. Taesung found. She was watching the stars, her silver-blue face wet with tears. "We did it," she whispered. "The shield worked." Taesun stood beside her. "You did it. Your knowledge saved 1 million people today. It's not just my knowledge. My people's knowledge. They're still here. Still helping. Even though they're gone." She looked at him. "Is this what you meant? Is this what I do with the memories?" Taesung put his arm around her shoulders. "This is exactly what I meant. You're not just keeping memories, Yuri. You're making new ones. Good ones. Important ones." Yuri leaned against him. She had grown taller in the past 6 months. She was not the tiny, scared girl he had found in the rubble anymore. She was becoming something else. Something strong. "Ka," she said. "I learned a new word today. A Korean word." "What word?" "Yuri," she smiled. "It means we or us, but it's special. It means people who are together. People who belong to each other." Taesung felt his throat tighten. "That's right." Yuri pointed at the shield, still glowing softly over New Busan. "Yuri," she said, "we did that. Not me alone. Not you alone. Us." Taesun pulled her closer. In his mind, he thought of Minji. He thought of his parents. He thought of everyone he had lost. But he also thought of everyone he had found. A captain who stood by her principles. A crew that had become family. And a small alien girl who called him brother and had helped save a world. U.S. Maybe that was what this war was really about. Not winning or losing. Not revenge or survival. But finding each other. Holding on to each other. Fighting for each other. Humans and Valorants. Soldiers and children. Strangers who became family. Together, 2 years had passed since the first. Aegis Shield saved New Busan. The galaxy had changed. 23 human worlds now had shields. The Kreth could no longer burn planets at will. Their easy conquests had become hard battles. Their mighty fleets had become frustrated and confused. But something else had changed too. Something bigger. Other species had been watching for centuries. Civilizations across the galaxy had lived in fear of the Kreth. They surrendered, or they died. There was no third option. No one fought back. No one won. Then humanity came. Humanity was not the strongest species. Their technology was not the most advanced. Their numbers were not the greatest. But they did something no one else had done. They refused to give up a single alien child. The story of Taesung and Yuri spread across the stars. A human soldier who risked his life for a girl he didn't know. A species that chose war over surrender. A child who used her people's knowledge to protect strangers. Other civilizations began to ask themselves a question they had never asked before. What if we fought back too? The first to join humanity was the Soren Collective. They were a race of tall, thin beings with 4 arms. The Kreth had taken 3 of their worlds. They had been planning to surrender the rest. Then they heard about New Busan. They heard about the shields. They heard about the little Valoran girl who had made it possible. The Soren ambassador came to the Dauntless personally. He knelt before Yuri, which was the highest honor in Soren culture. "We were ready to give up," he said. "You gave us hope." After the Soren came the 12 Moons Alliance. Then the Freeholders of Krix. Then a dozen more. Species that had been hiding, waiting to die. Now came forward to fight. The war was no longer humanity against the Kreth. It was the galaxy against the Kreth, and slowly, the tide began to turn. Yuri was 16 now, by human counting. She had grown tall and graceful. Her silver-blue skin seemed to glow with an inner light. She served as an advisor to the United Nations Space Force, but more importantly, she had become a symbol. The last Valoran. The memory keeper. The girl who chose hope, Taesung, had grown too. He was a commander now, leading his own ship. They had named it the Memory of Valora, in honor of Yuri's people. Yuri had helped design it herself, making it the fastest and strongest ship in the fleet. The final battle came on a cold morning in December. The Allied fleet gathered above Kreth Prime, the homeworld of the Dominion. 500 ships from 20 species. The largest fleet ever assembled. The Kreth had twice as many ships. They had better weapons. They had fought for thousands of years and never lost a war. But they had never fought. The galaxy united against them. Commander Taesun Park stood on the bridge of the Memory of Valora. Beside him stood Yuri, wearing the uniform of a fleet advisor. She had refused to stay behind on a safe world. Where her brother went, she went. "All ships report ready," the communications officer said. "The Allied fleet is waiting for your order, Commander." Taesun looked at Yuri. She nodded. He opened a channel to all ships. Human, Soren, Krix, and all the others. "This is Commander Park, of the Memory of Valora. 2 years ago, I found a girl in the ashes of a dead world. I didn't know her language. I didn't know her species. But I knew one thing. She needed help. And I was there to give it." He paused. The entire fleet was listening. "That's why we're here today. Not for revenge. Not for conquest. We're here because the Kreth have been burning worlds and killing innocents for too long. We're here because someone has to stop them. And we're here because when anyone in this galaxy needs help, we answer." He looked out at the stars, at the enemy fleet waiting for them. At the planet of the beings who had caused so much pain. Today we end this war. Not as humans or Soren or Krix. As one people. One family, Uri. All of us together. Let's bring them home. The fleet moved forward. The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Ships crashed and burned. Weapons lit up the darkness like lightning. Thousands died in the first hour alone. The Memory of Valora led the charge. Taesung's ship was faster than anything the Kreth had. It danced between enemy fire, striking at weak points, creating openings for other ships to follow, but the Kreth were not finished. Their command station, a massive fortress in orbit around their planet, was coordinating their entire defense. As long as it stood, they could keep fighting. Taesun made a decision. "All hands, prepare for assault run on the command station. We're going to take it out, Commander. Our shields are at 40%, his first officer warned. We won't survive a direct attack. We have to try. If that station keeps working, this battle could last for days. We'll lose too many people." The Memory of Valora turned toward the command station. The Kreth saw what was happening and focused all their fire on the ship. Explosions rocked the hull. Systems began to fail. Warning lights flashed everywhere. Shields at 20%. Hull breach on decks 7 and 8. Engines are damaged. We're losing speed. Taesung gripped the arms of his chair. They were so close. Just a little more. A massive blast hit the ship's core. The memory of Valora shook like a toy. Smoke filled the bridge. Taesung heard screaming. "Evacuate!" he shouted. "All hands, abandon ship. I'll guide it in manually." His crew ran for the escape pods, but one person did not move. Yuri. "I told you to go." Taesung grabbed her arm. "Get to a pod." "No." Her voice was calm. "You saved me. Now I save you, Yuri. This isn't the time for listen to me." She placed her hands on his face, just like he had done for her so many times. "My people knew things. Secret things. Technology we considered sacred. I never shared it because it was never meant for war. But this is not war anymore. This is family." She closed her eyes. When she opened them, they were glowing with soft blue light. Yuri spoke words in her own language. Words Taesung did not understand. The air around them began to shimmer. A bubble of blue energy formed, surrounding the bridge. "What is this?" Taesung whispered. "Stasis field. It will protect us from the crash. From everything." She smiled at him. "Trust me, Appa. Like I trusted you." The memory of Valora hit the command station. The explosion was visible from every ship in the fleet. A ball of fire that consumed the station and the ship together. The Kreth defense network went dark. Their coordination was gone. The Allied fleet pushed forward. Without the command station, the Kreth fell into chaos. Their ships began to scatter. Their defenses began to crumble. Within hours, it was over. The Kreth dominions surrendered for the first time in their history. The war was won. Rescue teams worked through the wreckage of the command station for 3 days. No one expected to find survivors. The explosion had been too big. Nothing could have survived, but humans were stubborn. And Yuri had taught them to never give up hope. On the 3rd day, they found the bubble of blue light. Inside, untouched by fire or debris, were 2 figures. A human man and a Valoran girl, still holding on to each other. Both were alive. The news spread across the galaxy. The hero of the war had survived. The Memory Keeper had saved him with technology. Her people had kept secret for 1,000 years, and she had done it for the same reason. Taesung had saved her 2 years ago, because he was family. 1 year later, Yuri stood before the first Galactic Assembly. Representatives from 50 species filled the Great Hall. Humans, Soren, Krix, and dozens of others. All there because they had learned to fight together, to hope together. Yuri walked to the podium. She was 17 now, tall and elegant and no longer afraid. She spoke in Korean first. Then she translated herself into 12 other languages. "I was the last of my people. When the Kreth destroyed Velarusavan, I thought I was alone forever. I thought hope was dead." She looked out at the assembly. Thousands of eyes watched her. Then a human found me. A soldier named Taesung Park. He did not know me. He did not speak my language. He was hurt and tired and far from home. But when he saw me hiding in the rubble, he did not walk away. He shared his food with me. He protected me from enemies. He called me sister and meant it. Her voice grew stronger. That is why we won this war. Not because humans have the best weapons. Not because they are the strongest or the smartest. We won because when a human sees someone who needs help, they help, even if it costs them everything. Even if the person is a stranger, even if the person is not even human. She smiled. I carry the memories of my entire civilization. Thousands of years of history and knowledge. But the most important thing I ever learned, I learned from one human soldier on a dead world. I learned that family is not about blood. It is about choice. It is about standing together when everything is falling apart. She looked at the crowd until she found him. Taesung was sitting in the front row, wearing his dress uniform. His eyes were red. He was trying not to cry and failing. Yuri's smile grew wider. Thank you for finding me. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for showing the galaxy what it truly means to be human. She stepped back from the podium. The assembly rose to their feet. The applause was like thunder rolling across the hall and out into the stars.